Well, I have to share with you what has transpired in the last couple of minutes, maybe the last 20. I'm trying to get a picture of some things. And first of all, gotta say, that's really smudgy looking, isn't it? That did a little bit. Let me try the lens here. This technology is definitely in our environment, and it goes on to that's much better. It goes on to the screen surface, and it affects the things that you see. So, what could very well be happening is that the surfaces of things that I am seeing through and out of is what is changing, which would lead you to believe that it is only on the surfaces of things. That is not true. And the reason I can say that is because of things that I've seen in the environment. With that being said, I need to share this. It is possible that something has been done to the lens of my eye while I've slept. That's really disturbing because there is no reason why somebody should want to ever do what's been done to me to other people. It's very sick what has happened. And I gotta say, the complete lack of my friends is very disturbing. They're stuck in an idea that is just not true. And with somebody impostoring me, it makes matters extremely challenging because I'm not able to get my point across without somebody trying to fuck it up. And just another example of things that are not right. I'm going to show this to you. I have an email that is not mine, and I'm not getting email notifications on things. That's how I know that it is not correct. Yet still, I have people disagreeing with me. The disagreeing needs to end today because I will not be believed. Please go on to 4-word together 0 fear, because that is where you can get up-to-date information on this incredible unfolding story. I'm going to leave you with this. I'll read the things. A friend sent me this when they did a search of my next door neighbor on Facebook. It says, Um, it's possible that that part is wrong. When I'm wrong, I readily admit it. I do. But still, let me read to you what I have sent my friend Nick. Um, I said a friend sent me this when they did a search of my next door neighbor. And my friend said, so he probably doesn't have a Facebook profile. Lots of people don't. He does, is what I said. But it tells of how he contacts my friends. An email address that isn't mine is somehow connected to my Facebook and TikTok accounts. R asterisk 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 N at gmail.com. It's also the same email that is connected to an iPhone 8 that isn't mine, that was planted in my car about a month and a half ago. It is a Verizon phone whose contract was terminated January 14th, 2023. I have not terminated any phones on my account. He said, that's just your email address truncated for security. I said, no, it's not. Stop disagreeing with me, please. He said, yeah, it is, Rem. Mine does the same damn thing. That's all I got. And until later, when I'm sure I will be sharing more information with you. But that's just a little bit of a recap. Again, please, because I am not able to use Facebook right now to post. And that is where pretty much all of the information is. I wish I could post. If somebody's willing to help me post from Instagram or from Twitter, go there and please help me spread the word, because this is just not acceptable. I'm going to show you one more time because it's really not good. The group has sickeningly used my friends to cause all sorts of harm in my life. And I've never been more frustrated. And it's so frustrating. I cannot even tell you how frustrating it actually is. So I will go one more time to a post, and I want to show you the picture that is supposed to be on the cover, but it's not. It's this right here. Oh, jeez, oh, Pete. And the reason that this is important is because the branches are definitely not correct. And I encourage you to please go to Forward Together Zero Fear on the Instagram, and you will find this video where the branches are definitely not correct. This is not correct. These lines should not be going all the way up like this. It's just not right. And I'm having a very difficult time having people to understand that this is a threat of major magnitude, because our world should not look like this. It just should not. And if people want to continue disagreeing with me, there's going to be a huge problem, because we're not going to be able to handle this treat that the military wants to deliver. Look at that. Does that look normal to you? I wish I had some of my friends right here so that I could just show the phone to. This is not normal. And people that say it is, they're high, because it's not normal. And people need to stop telling me that I'm wrong. I have a lot of background and familiarity with nature and science. And for people to continue doubting just to call it something else is really disrespectful of my knowledge and intelligence. You can claim that everything is because of a drug or because of a mental illness, and I'll prove you wrong. But you have to be open-minded to move away from what the police say, because they have lied about so much. They want to use this technology. And I don't think our world should look like this. There's no way. That's gross. And to pretend like people aren't going to notice, that's like walking out in the middle of the street with your fucking pants down at your ankles and saying to people, "What are you looking at? This is not normal. This is not normal." And anybody that says it is fooling themselves. This was taken at the Hyatt this evening when I went. And let me try something else, because we seem to have an influx of light that's probably affecting everything. So let me try to lower the brightness so that you can see a little bit more. Are you ready? And it did not save. Isn't that great? All I can say is that if we continue on this path of complete disregard for other people's thoughts and just are closed-minded about it, it's going to create a problem. So it's important that when you're hearing something, that you're not saying to yourself while hearing it, "Nope, it's not true. Nope, it's not true." We are naturally leaning towards pessimism. as a species, that is proven. As mammals, which we are, in the animal kingdom, we are naturally a little bit pessimistic. So we need to get over that when we're listening and just simply be open-minded. It doesn't take much effort, but it'll make a huge difference. I hope that people have not been completely rude and disrespectful in their comments. If you have, you'll get an appropriate response. And you can be expecting a lawsuit, some of you. This one says, you need to get help, Ron. Don't talk to or about Etta anymore if she has a protective order. Maybe an anti-anxiety medicine like Lozapram could help you. No, I don't have an anxiety problem, Robert. I have a problem being believed. So you need to change your thinking that the solution to all of my problems is a mental illness. That's rather disrespectful. For the love of Rem. Oh my God, no more of these weird pictures. They don't prove anything. Yes, they do. For the love of Rem, get in your goddamn car, drive up to the Hilton, go to the back patio, and look at the big picture windows and the reflection that you see of the trees. And you tell me. You can sit right on the fireplace outside, stay nice and cozy, warm, and look at the strange patterns. Because the patterns are an arch, and they go both this way and they go this way. And the projections are attached, like they're connected. Do you know, like a paper doll where they're all connected and you string them up? That's what it looks like. Go and use your eyes. Oh, that's you. You're here. I don't know him personally. I just found him on the internet. I'm from Wisconsin. Yay, Robert. Robert, you must know that the neighbors have purposefully done things to create a diagnosis with the belief that they could get me to move. That's really what happened. It's sick, but it's the truth. Supergirl just looks like a pretty sunset to me. I guarantee you it is not the most beautiful picture. But look, does this look normal to you? It's got patterns all over it and extra branches that aren't there when you look at the actual tree. This is a huge problem. And if we do not take care of it immediately, we're going to have a problem. We may already have a problem. But this is not acceptable to have people see. It's just not. Rem, these are delusions. This is for the love of Rem. They are not. You know why? Because neighbors say that they see them too. They spent years telling the police in Netcare, REM sees things that other people don't see, or REM sees things that aren't there. The neighbors used this technology in their yards for me to see, and then told the authorities that I see things that aren't there. And they thought because it's made of invisible light that they'd be able to get away with it. Yikes. Well, now they've claimed to people, and somebody on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, said this. The neighbors say that you're the devil because the technology is on your property. Bingo. They do see it. And they are trying to claim that I'm the devil. Not going to work. Ah, boy. Let's see. Robert, now you're turning against me? No, I'm not. You've been very supportive. And you have helped. What I'm telling you is that it is not a mental illness issue. This is actually real. It is going on in our environment. And I'm sounding the alarm. See, I called him and told him that God cares about him a great deal. And I said a prayer for him. Things all started while I was looking up Kimberly Milligan in England on YouTube. I found REM. And Robert's been very supportive and reached out and knows my frustration. Robert, you do not know this, but there has been a curse, and I don't know who has put it on me, but everybody, seriously, everybody in the world has disagreed with me about just about everything that I've said. So you're not alone in disagreeing with me, but I am telling the truth, and I always have, and I will continue until people start believing. I've had a couple miracles happen in my life, and if the NSA doesn't want to go bankrupt over this issue because this has destroyed my life, they're going to cough up the RNM tape. That's remote neural monitoring of my vision, and cutting open this coat. This is where a miracle happened in my left sleeve. I was wearing my coat in my kitchen, and all of a sudden I felt an iPhone go from my elbow to my wrist. And in order to get it out, I had to make a cut in this stitching, in this lining, because all of the stitching, and this is why the coat is really important, all of the stitching is still in place. It's completely stitched up. There's no way in. So in order to get it, I had to rip the sleeve lining to get it out. And you know what it says? Look at today's date. That's not today. It's also not the same time. How do I know that? Look, they're different. Isn't that crazy? And you can't say it's the wrong time zone because the minutes are off. This phone is not mine. And it's attached to an email that I don't know the missing characters to. There are 5. R, and then it says asterisk, 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 N at gmail.com. I don't know that email, and I don't know the password to it, but it's attached to my Facebook and my TikTok accounts. That's crazy. This was planted in my vehicle. This has terminated its contract with Verizon. I have not terminated any contracts. So it can't be mine because I didn't stop a phone on my account. See? So as people continue to try covering up things, they actually produce more evidence of their own crimes. Isn't that crazy? So, see, I called him and told him that God cares about him a great deal. And I said a prayer for him. This all started while I was looking up Kimberly Milligan in England on YouTube. I found Robert. One of these days we are going to meet, buddy. She happens to say prayers for people like this. I should meet Kimberly because I need to thank her for praying for me. Right. This is from the Love of Rem. Right. Because sane people do that, Rem. I'm going to get right on that. God loves you, Robert. He definitely needs prayers and love. This is a terrible sickness. For the love of Rem, if you spread false statements like that anymore, your defamation of character suit will bankrupt you. Having a diagnosis, sir, or ma'am, or it, whatever you are, having a diagnosis does not mean I'm sick. Do you get it? Or do I need to explain it to you a little bit more? For the love of Rem says, Rem, nobody is going off of what your neighbors or the police think. No, they do. They do. And he goes on to say, we go off of what you show us. And you show us all the symptoms of addiction, which is a genuine illness. You need to explain this a little bit more in comments because maybe you have some things confused. AD said, what happened to you? My neighbors are using a technology against me, AD, that is made of ultraviolet light, which is only really seen with a smart camera lens. You can see it a little bit, but for the most part, it is not seeable, if that makes sense. It can also change into any color of the visual spectrum, any color of the rainbow. So it has a range of ability as far as light is concerned. Is that for the love of Rem? Disagreeing with you doesn't mean we hate or don't love you, Rem. We can't see you the way everyone around you sees you. I generally want you well. If you want me to be well, you need to listen to what I'm saying. For the love of Rem, is that phone connected to a network? No, it is not. And I can't open it. And it says now, iPhone unavailable. If you go on to either my Facebook page, Rem Milligan, or Tier Justice, Equity, and Equality, or my Instagram, which is for WARD, 2 GETHER, 0 FEAR. And no, I do not smoke pot. But once this is all over, I probably will. And I'll pray to God that I can get high, because I can't on beer or liquor. And that's not right. I don't drink pretty much anymore. I have one DUI. That's the only crime that I've ever been charged and found guilty of. That's the truth. Why do you have so many phones? That's a good question, Robert. The reason I have so many phones is because the memory in them completely fills up. And I'm going to show you what I mean, which is just insane that this happens. All right. We're going to go to settings, and I'm going to show you my storage. Look for a minute at how much storage is being taken up by photos. Now, you would think that's a ton of photos, right? Watch what happens when I go to the app and go to all of the photos that there are. Let me start at the top. There are very few actual photos on the phone. What that means is that it's puffed up. There's no reason why my phone should be full with that small amount of photos. So the reason I have so many phones, number one, phones get stolen out of my home because people come in and I don't know how they're coming in. I have forensic evidence of things that were disturbed that the police know about and are not taking fingerprints. I also have a bucket of joint compound that somebody took a piss in. And the police know about that too. So does the FBI. Nobody has taken a DNA sample. How do I know that somebody did something like that disgusting? Easy. Joint compound is an inert. That means it doesn't react. And inorganic, non-living. Compound. It doesn't go bad. It doesn't do anything. And there's a bunch of liquid in it. And when you open it up, it smells like an outhouse. I've kept it. And it's in an airtight container because that's what joint compound is in. It's the big tub. And it was the perfect size for somebody to sit down and pretend was a toilet. I've had 3 books of checks stolen off of my dining room table about 2 weeks ago. I've got some evil people living around me, and they're trying to intimidate and scare me into moving. And because of the crimes and the seriousness of them, I am concerned for my safety, and it is not a mental illness. Because the police don't offer me any services. I get the worst service from the pigs in Columbus. And it's an embarrassment, actually, because I'm a respectable person. And the police have been fed a bunch of bullshit from Patty Ryan. Lies. And just as I'm not believed about what I say, guess what she is? Believed of everything. And I think that it's a prayer that they say, and I think they got it from Bill out of a book of Satan chants. This is the honest to God truth. And I have reason to say these things. So let me continue. AD. It's like you went from an awesome teacher to a crazy person that shouldn't be around kids. AD, please explain to me why you don't think that I should be around kids. Because I think you've been told something that is not true. So please tell me what you have been told. I'd really appreciate your help. Because in my 22 years of teaching, 0 disciplinary action. 0. Do you want to know something else? Let me do something for you. Maybe this will help. Because this is disturbing. This was from my voicemail. Well, this has gone away. Maybe it's in messages? Well, anyway, my voicemail that I should have a list of. Normally, it lists it right there. It's not there right now. Lisa Rongula from, I think, Channel 6 here in Columbus called me in April, I think, of 2019. And there's a YouTube video, actually, a couple of them, of the voicemail. So type in Lisa Rongula or just Lisa and it'll come up. And you can listen for yourself. She called me. I worked at West Broad Elementary. That's the last school I worked at in December for 4 days. Okay? 4 days. This TV personality calls me up and leaves a voicemail saying, "This is Lisa Rongula with Channel 6. I'm looking for a Robert Milligan who taught at West Broad Elementary School." Guess what? I didn't call back. And neither did she. She didn't follow up anymore. But guess what was told in my head? A child sexual abuse scandal with the microwave auditory effect, which is real. It's not a mental illness. I've done nothing to any children ever. In fact, if you knew me, you'd be surprised by an accusation of that nature, because that's not me at all. Robert, I'm leaving for now. You do look like something is causing you to behave abnormally, but I don't know what the source of it is. I'm sorry if that offends you. Robert, it's okay. What's bothering me is the fact that there is a group that tells lies about me that is believed of things that they say that are not true. Officer Scofani accused me of not having a driver's license and it being suspended on June 23rd, 2022, when he arrived at Internal Affairs, where I went in person and performed in a what's it called? Well, it was entrapment. They came in and cuffed me right away. What the fuck? I said to him, and there's a YouTube video because I put his body cam in the video to prove what he said and what I said. I said, I don't have a suspended license. He said, yes, you do. And he told Officer Yates to get some form ready that he was going to fill out. This is also the same officer who, on a Netcare document, claims that referral source said my house was in foreclosure. It's not in foreclosure. And I've asked 5 times for the source, which the police say is anonymous. I have a right to face my accuser, and I will shut down MCR unit single-handedly because it's unconstitutional. And there will not be an MCR unit, which is nothing more than a setup. And there is a group in Columbus that abuses this little stalker abuse of the police. And they tell lies because they don't like people that do drugs or that are gay. I don't know which. I know that Bill's got a problem with me being gay. And apparently 437 Como does also. They're right next door. They both live behind me. I'll tell you what. The fact that I have a penis and I like penis is a privacy issue. And I should not be treated any differently in public. Really. And the same thing goes for people that do a drug in the privacy of their own home. If you're not allowed to do what you want in your own property, we're creating a very scary world where privacy no longer exists. And the police, unfortunately, know way too much about people. And they invade people's privacy on a regular basis. And they base their decision of things off of illegally obtained information and send innocent people to jail and to mental institutes. This is the honest God truth. And it's got to end because it's not right. Alcohol doesn't make you high REM. This is a anonymous person. There are probably several of us that would be totally cool talking with you. That would be fun. When you say alcohol doesn't make you high, it makes you drunk. So that is actually a depressant. And slurred speech, slower motor skills and motor coordination, that would still be considered high. It's just not an up. And that's the difference. For the love of REM. Yeah, the piss bucket's nothing to brag on, sir. It's not my piss. That's my point. And I didn't do it. I would know if I went to the bathroom in my own container. That's nothing I would do. I'll tell you something that is extremely scary with this technology of remote neural monitoring, which is real. It does have the capability to hypnotize you. And I had an experience of that. When I was in court for a stalking charge, which was actually filed by the person who's stalking me and impersonating me, Arvid Ashby. I was nodding off. I couldn't stay awake. I had a full night's sleep. And for about 2 minutes, I could not stay awake. And then it went away. Yesterday, I had wheezing in my voice, and it was difficult to breathe. And I call it e-COVID, electric COVID, electrically stimulated. And that's exactly what it is. This program that utilizes the frequency of your brain activity, and it maps out all of the different parts. There's an optical part that allows a user of this program to see what you see on their computer screen. It's like you're their camera. There's a portion of the program that allows the user to hear what the victim hears. So that means not only what the victim says, but what others say around them and that they're near. So it's an eavesdropping or wiretapping tool. That's only the beginning part of it. I encourage you, please, to do some research into remote neural monitoring and understand it is real. And it's scary that my government is so tied and attached to using it. It is causing sickness of the respiratory system. And it is causing deaths. That's what COVID is. Take a look at all of the pictures of people cramped into stadiums or on a beach down in Florida or in a restaurant or at a dance club. They're in close proximity. If COVID was catchable, people would be getting sick where people live close together. And that's not true. In fact, it's the opposite of what's really happening. The United States is not densely populated. We have a lot of open space. We have a whole lot. And India and China, with 3 times the population, has less COVID deaths than we do. Take a look at income group, and it's even scarier. You know why? Because when you look at income group, woo, there's a big problem. I'll tell you why. Here, take a look at this. I've got it right here for you to see. And it's scary. It's scary what is really going on. Because it shouldn't be like this at all. So, why are we having this problem? It's a good question, really. Are you ready for this? Look at the numbers. High income, 417 million cases. Look at the lower income, the number of cases, 2. Out of the entire world, which group has more people? Rich or poor? And before you answer that, I want you to keep this in mind. People on welfare in the United States are considered rich in many countries around the world. That's a fact. So the fact that COVID numbers from the World Health Organization is showing this. It shows that people are being murdered by my military who uses remote neural monitoring. And it's a plan to make the world population poor. You'd be like, how is that going to happen? There's tax when you die. The tax is 18 to 40% in the United States, depending on how much money you have. So for each death in a family, 18 to 40% the government collects. So there is a profit being made. In 2020, Pfizer showed a profit of $50 billion from vaccine sales. But the vaccine didn't cost any money. It was free. How did they get $50 billion? Who paid $50 billion? And that's profit. And then the government turns around and gives them amnesty from being sued for 71 years. And in Obama's administration, the Supreme Court ruled that if you consent to a vaccine, that you are considered property of the pharmaceutical company. Isn't it funny how medical misinformation is what is told when people tell the truth? The entire other side of COVID, the vaccines, the masks, all of it, the testing, the swabs. We only hear one side. We never hear the other side. And it's the first time that you've ever heard that. Social media has removed freedom of speech. And that's a really big deal. And nobody's saying anything about it. I am. Because when a debate or when an issue comes up, the people need to know both sides so that they can make their own decision. But media has not done their job. They've told a narrative of the governments. They've told a one-sided tale and even go as far as promoting an opinion. How do they do that? Many closings of the news, if you recall, would say, make sure you keep everybody safe and get vaccinated. Even our president helped formulate an opinion by saying it's the patriotic thing to do to get vaccinated. Oh, now we're finding out what European countries have known for a long time. And I even have a video of going on to DuckDuckGo, which is a much better search engine, and changing the filter from United States to Belgium. And when you change the filter and check out things with COVID, there's a whole list of videos and articles and images that do not show up when you do a filter for the United States. That's censorship. Our own government has silenced a lot of information and were delivered a very small portion of the whole thing. So that is extremely scary. For the love of Rem. Now I have hunch that you're forgetting where you place things. I mean, you're middle-aged with ADHD. Hell, I forget where I put stuff too. No, things actually do change. In fact, I'm missing. I was missing a phone, and it was in my pocket, but then it was not because I checked. I don't know what's going on with the coat, but something's up. And it's returned things to me, and it's also taken things away. It's very strange. But I'll tell you a scary part about the technology, and then I'll move on to the next thing because I know that there are a couple things. The way I believe the phone got inside my coat sleeve is through suspending the molecular bond and eliminating it from the coat's cloth and material. How do I come up with this? I had 4 phones one day in a hotel room. And I went like this, and I put them all on the bed. And guess what happened? Are you ready for this? I counted the phones, and one of them was missing. I said, that can't be. I tossed them all onto the bed. When I stepped back from the bed, I saw on the floor the one missing phone, directly below 2 mattresses, a set of sheets, and a quilt or cover on top. So it went directly through a solid material. So when I say that this technology breaks the laws of physics, it means that a solid can pass through another solid. This technology will turn a solid into a liquid, and that will allow another solid to travel through it. It sounds crazy, but I am correct. Because of the phone that was found in my coat. That's evidence right there of that. Because all the stitching is in place and none of it is ripped or open. And I just pray to God that I'm able to keep the coat as proof that a miracle happened. Because the coat ended up the phone that is not mine. It was planted and then disappeared. It was stolen out of my home. It came back to me inside of the coat sleeve. Amazing. Completely true. I have faith in God. And I do know that when you tell the truth, you are set free. And I have no reason to lie. None at all. Let's see. West Broad Elementary School is in my neighborhood. That's where I taught for 4 days. I tried to go back. And because of my experience of being a slave and having remote neural monitoring a part of my life, which involves, for my experience, a lot of talking, it's extremely difficult to concentrate on what is going on around you if you're constantly hearing people talk. I knew that I would not be able to deliver the best education to a group of students, and I was not willing to do that. I have a very long and successful career as an educator for 22 years, and I'm very well loved in the district. And I left on my own terms. I resigned in December of 2018. So, where did you teach? West Broad was the most recent one, but I taught in the Bottoms or Franklinton at Starling Middle School, and I taught for a decade there. 8th grade. Guess what subjects? This is funny. U.S. history, 16 to 1900. Guess what's covered? The Constitution. I'm not a lawyer, but I taught the rights and liberties that we have as citizens. And people who grow up in the inner city are targeted, actually, by the police. And many get the raw end of the stick. It is a truth that is common around the nation. There is discrimination within the inner city. There are assumptions, and the police help create some of that. It is the truth. Message retracted. Don't feel bad about saying something. I'm here to answer questions because I want the truth to be known. There are people in my neighborhood who are just evil, and they want to ruin me. And it's not right. Depressant isn't a high. It's intoxication. It's having too much of something that isn't naturally occurring. The same thing can be said for caffeine or sugar. It gives you what you would call a buzz. So those things are kind of examples of not being at your equilibrium or at your homeostasis, which would be your normal self. So anything that is a mind and mood altering substance is considered a drug. That's why they have AA. And they focus on the drug. NA focuses on the behavior. It doesn't focus on the drug because it's the doing and the feelings part about it. Because people that are addicted to power like to put other people down or like to be in control, right? That can be an addiction. People are addicted to work. People are addicted to exercise. People are addicted to food. People are addicted to the internet. People are addicted to texting. People are addicted to sex. People are addicted to bingo. Addiction is a wide open season for just anything that you do too much of. And if it's something that you love, well, you've just described an addiction because you want to do it more and more and more, right? That's the definition of addiction. You're a teacher. What do you know about drug or alcohol use? I'd love to talk more about it with you. You know what? I have in my college days, because I didn't do anything before I got to college. I didn't take any drugs of any kind. And I used alcohol, beer, and for a number of decades. I was a beer drinker and occasionally some gin. And I enjoyed getting drunk. I never really considered myself as having a problem with alcohol. One day I had a bad day at work and I did get a DUI trying to drive home, which was a bad choice. That's the only run-ins with the law I've ever had. And that experience kind of made me wake up a little bit because I was drinking regularly throughout the week and more on the weekends. And it was a social thing. I mean, you'd go out to the club and you would have some drinks, and it was just socially acceptable. And I never really considered myself having a problem with alcohol. Um, my neighbor behind me consumes a lot of beer, and I thought potentially, because his recycle bin is right near my backyard. I hope he hasn't done this, but the thought that has been told in my head by actual voices has alluded to the fact that I drink a lot or that I have a drinking problem. Not true. In fact, I don't drink anything right now. Although the person that keeps coming into my house, and I don't know how that's happening, has drank beer out of my refrigerator. Yeah, kind of sick. I have an egg carton container. You know, the place where you put the eggs? I put a gallon of milk on top of it. A brand new dozen of eggs. I decided to make deviled eggs one day, about a week after I purchased it. I open it up and there are 2 eggs left. 10 were missing. I immediately put the container into a plastic bag, and I've kept it since. For forensic purposes. And guess what? I've told the police. They haven't done shit for me. They don't want to solve the crime. You know why? I think they know who the criminals are. And they don't want them to get in trouble. I think that's what's going on. For the love of Rem, what the fuck does that have to do with you? What the fuck does that have to do with anything, Rem? You just told everyone that you've only got $29 left. Yes. I have another 10,000 coming out of my retirement account, which is what I've been living on. I started with $293,000 because I took all of my retirement account with state teachers' retirement and I cashed it out. I took every penny. I've been living on that, trying to get issues resolved in my neighborhood. And it's very scary. I have less than 100,000 left. I'm trying my hardest to get things resolved as quickly as possible for myself financially, but also for those people that are guilty of crime. Because at the end of the day, their silence is causing more harm. I need their help. Because there's some people in the neighborhood that have used some technology that's not legal to be using. They say it's legal, but it's not. Do you know why it's not? Making somebody hear voices in your head is invasion of privacy. What it is microwaves. And the microwaves, which are the same things that make cell phones work. It's microwave radiation. And you don't feel it, but the inner ear is attached to your skull. And when the waves are sent through, it'll make your skull vibrate. And it can only hit one person. You know how it does that? We have a field around us. It's our EMF. And it protects us from a lot of microwave radiation. But the military has a way to disable your protection. And that is how the microwaves get into only somebody's head, because we each have a different frequency, just like we have a different fingerprint. No two fingerprints are alike. No two DNAs are alike. No two EMFs are alike. That's how unique we are. We're all special and different, even though government wants us to think we're all the same and that we don't count. I count. And my government should think I'm important enough after 92 reports of crime. Not getting a response. So what I've done is I kept track of all of my contacts so that I can sue for negligence and I can sue for dereliction of duty, because there are serious things going on in my neighborhood. And the things that I'm experiencing are not just me experiencing them, because neighbors are experiencing some of the things too. It is creepy living in the neighborhood right now. And everybody's on pins and needles. And my voice is silenced. We have a Google group that I'm no longer a part of. I've been eliminated. My voice is silenced. I've asked the neighbors around me to please help. Get the person who runs the Google group to put me back on, because I deserve to have a voice in my neighborhood. And nothing has been done differently. An inpatient program would help you a lot. No, it would not. I don't know where you came up with that idea. I don't know. Drew. Sup, Rob? Hey, Drew. How are you? Sassy Eggs. Hey, Robert. Hey. And Drew, what's up with Arvid? I don't know, but I'll tell you this. I have evidence of his iPhone being on my Apple ID and my Google accounts. My contact email was changed years ago, and I don't know what email address it is. So I don't know. My Google location history does not show where I go. And when it does show a location I go, it never follows a road 100% of the time. That's impossible. Google Maps is not that inaccurate. And it shows a triangle going from one location to another. So if the roads go like this, let's say you have a map like that. Okay? And I go here, I go here and I go here. I go to these 3 locations on the map in the city. You would expect it to not look like this. You would not expect it to look like that. But that's what all my Google location history trips look like. And it shows his address as the beginning of the trips. I live at 434 Midgard. It shows 442. And it sits for weeks and goes nowhere. I have debit card purchases and other bits of evidence of being out and about in public. But my Google location history is tracking something that's not mine. I don't know what it is that's recording my movement, but it's nothing I own. And I'm not even allowed over at his house. He put a trespassing notice against me because I was banging on his door one day asking for answers, because he has answers. And he does not want to share them. But his device was using my cell number for FaceTime and iMessages. So that's what's up with Arvid. And his partner, I found his iPhone attached to my Wi-Fi network. It gave him access to all of the devices that are connected to the network. This was on June 15th. I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to the police. And on the 23rd, Officer Yates, on his body cam, took the report and it was never investigated. So there's a lot that's been done. There's a lot of technology in his yard. I saw a steaming bowl being mixed with things next to an exterior wall on the counter. And you would think, oh, well, it was something on the stove. I don't believe you're allowed to have lines of gas on an exterior wall. I think it all has to be internal so that all of your supply lines cannot be part of an exterior wall. I think that's fire code, but you'd need to check on that for me, because I've got other things I'm worrying about right now. I do appreciate everybody hanging around and being a part and listening. There's a lot you don't know. And people have worked very hard to discredit me, to make me not be believed. And they've done a lot of damage. So much damage that the hometown, because I consider myself this is home. It's turned my hometown into a place full of enemies and I've done nothing wrong or illegal. All of my friends believe what the police say, and the police tell lies. And they don't offer me services, and they don't help. And I think they're involved in my targeting and in part of the torture, potentially too, with the program. I've had a number of very challenging years, and I've made it through. I think the plan was to make me a huddled mess that was incapable of functioning in society. I'm anything but that. I'm a very strong individual, and I'm very capable. And I've had no brain trauma. There's a belief that I have brain damage. I do not. I have 100% capacity, something that you might not know. And math does not cause brain trauma. Do you know where the police came up with this idea that I had brain trauma? From a drugging of fentanyl one time. Do you know what was also found in my system when people lied and caused a hospitalization? Suboxone. You know what that's used for? Withdrawing from an opioid. I've never been prescribed it by a doctor in my life because I don't do opioids. I would never damage my body that way. So, the truth is different than what the police say. The police knew that this technology was in the neighborhood. I think they were excited about it because it's excellent for creating camouflage and doing up close surveillance without being noticed. It's pretty advanced, and it can create images of things. Go onto my my page, my channel. Since you're already on YouTube, right? Since you're already there, there is a set of movies, and one that you should see. I'm going to tell you the title right now. And in fact, I'll do something even better. I will go ahead and put a link down in the conversation right now. And I want you to just take a look at the section near the end of the video where I'm outside. So here it is. I hope that you enjoy that because it's just strange. And press pause when you are at that section. I'm going to also include another video that you need to be thinking about with an open mind before you view it. And the reason I say that is because sometimes we are not able to see truth when we believe a lie first. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? Well, if you believe something first and somebody says something different, you naturally won't believe it. So the second one I'm showing is the outside scene moving before the camera moves. So those are two videos for you to just kind of ponder over. Um, Hank, why are you running from our lights? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Uh, what I will tell you is that the lights follow me where I go, and they shine extra UV light at my eyes to get my attention. What that means, because ultraviolet light is bad, it'll give you skin cancer and it'll also give you cataracts. So this light, Hank, um, is dangerous for me. And if you look in some of the videos, there's a lot of extra UV light in my windows. In fact, I'll show you one video where the UV light is so big, it's rather disturbing. Here it is. You won't believe it because it's bizarre. It's way too much light. So the technology changes existing light and creates a lens, and it can change the light that's safe in our environment into dangerous light. So I hope that clears some things up. I've enjoyed getting my truth out, which is nothing but the truth. Thank you for listening, the 5 of you that are still here. It's time to spread the truth, because if we do, we're all going to be free. And being free is the most important thing ever. And I'm willing to fight for mine. So I hope you join me in my fight to get my rights back. I need all the support I can get. Have a good night. Donkey, hey there. Go ahead and take a look at those 3 videos, and they were all taken within the last week. This technology has become a part of our environment, and it is, I think, what they're planning on using to create blackout day, which is where the electricity is supposed to go out. This is a problem if they plan to use this technology. Do you know why? Because it will cover the lenses of lights, which will make lights not work. So if the military thinks that it's going to be able to run the country, no, it won't. Because lights won't work. It'll be pitch black. And I wrote about it today in my journal. And I'll close with this because I believe it to be true. I would not be very surprised to learn of people hiding out in either the basement or attic who let in my main captor, who pretends to be me and sits in my house, envisioning himself in possession of all my things, and has a technology cover the windows with a normal scene without him present in the view and detectable. and his power and control over everyone, and everything grows with every tick of the seconds hand of a clock. While my neighbors anxiously wait for what they want and what the police have said they'll do, um, they remain silent and they do not help me get resolution to this problem of the technology attacking me. Um, they're allowing this technology to expand and overpopulate the globe. And we live in a closed system, which means if we add something from outside, it will use resources. And if you think about the number of cloudless days we've had just in the last year, it's very odd. You know why? We live in the cloudiest or rainiest, I can't remember which one, city in the entire United States. We do here in Columbus, Ohio. And if it's the most rain, that would imply clouds, wouldn't it? So we have normally clouds in the sky. But this last year, we've had at least 24 days of completely clear skies. And if you live in Columbus, Ohio, you know that that's the truth. We've had numbers just astronomical. It's possible that this technology is utilizing water vapor or clouds to live on. And the military plans to chop off some more ice on the polar caps. I got news for you. Sea level rise doesn't exist. Do you know how I can prove that? Make yourself a glass of ice water and set it on the table. That would be our oceans and the polar caps. Then leave and come back 5 hours later. Do you see water on the table? You don't. Sea level does not rise. It's a myth. Is it possible that our soil is making us sink? That is possible, actually, especially with this technology. So, sea level rise is not the truth, but it is possible that we are sinking and that our soil is not as solid as it once was. Who is doing this? I think Bill behind me and Arvid, but 437 has, I believe, a military connection. And I believe that this is alien technology because of how advanced it is. I'm going to write down my address, and I encourage people to come by and see the Ohio Bermuda Triangle. My back lattice was lattice fence off of my deck is now slanted a little bit. I don't know what people are trying to do or fuck with, but it's different than it was when I left this morning because it normally goes straight across. It now has a tilt. Anyway, there is a triangle on the back fence and two lights shine on the same area. They're in different parts of my yard. One is at the bottom of the driveway, and the light shines up the driveway. And when you walk across the triangle, you can see the shadow clearly. But I also have a light on the dining room window where the deck is. And when I pass through the triangle, the shadow disappears in the triangle and does not show up. I don't know how it's happening. And I've been trying desperately to get the media out to film it, or anybody else to come out and film it. So it's an open invite. Anybody who would like to witness the Ohio Bermuda Triangle, because it's actually happening. It really is. And I'm not getting any support from anybody because I'm just simply not believed. I believe because I don't lie. I just don't. So let's see. You can't stop blackout day. That's from Grage McLarge. We should, because it's part of the depopulation plan. And if anybody is in support of that, I encourage them to go ahead and commit suicide. And that would help. It is a sin to murder. And Executive Order 12333, which is genocide with a voice of authority from our president of depopulating the earth. People say we're overpopulated. False. Do you know how I can tell you that? There's a row of bread in every store. We're running out of food. No, we're not. We're not. People believe things that are not true. People believe what media tells them, and media lies. They tell a narrative. And a narrative is just a story, and people believe it to be true. Blackout Day is about you losing your rights. Do you know why? The military will restore order and never give it back. They don't plan on giving it back. I'm sorry. We have over 300 years of rule of the people, for the people, and by the people. People in the military think of themselves as special. You're the people too. But you steal rights away from people. And you're murdering people. And that's not the American thing to do. You fought for freedom. What the military is doing right now is stealing freedom. And they are doing a horrible disservice to all of the other people who have died so that you could have rights. If we want to honor those who are there to defend us, they should be defending our rights, not violating them with their program. And right now, their military exercise is COVID. It is RNM. It's remote neural monitoring. That is what the media calls COVID. We can do better. and we can have more integrity. Let me go back and finish reading because we're getting to the good part. Allowing this technology to expand and overpopulate the globe in our closed system where God used to exist. And one day, very soon, his entire planet will disappear forever, made pitch black. Just what the military wanted. And we will spirally move forward in time as the lost planet nobody in the universe can locate. And the one place where God, our creator, lost against the devil. Because man did not do the right thing. Our own tragic and sad ending will be a reminder for the rest of the universe's outer culture civilizations to worship God and no other God, especially self. Because when you do and you get what you want, there is always a consequence connected to it that you don't want. This will be the story told for all ages, among all connected to the universe's civilizations, on all the planets with life present, where God's diversity and uniqueness are appreciated, celebrated, and loved. God is great. Blackout day with this technology, turning everything black, could be something we can't reverse. How do you turn it off? Because people are turning it on. So here's the thing. It's a violation of my deed to have this light energy forming pictures of things, projections against my windows. So stop. I don't want to be harassed by it anymore. And you can see where it's coming from because of the daisy chain. If you look in the pictures, you can see where it's coming from. So stop the harassing. The people who are in charge of the technology, it's time to stop it. And they don't. I need some help because it's not mine. But my neighbors don't listen to me. And I've been sounding the warning about this technology being dangerous. I need the police to have it turned off. They have to stop saying it's delusions. Bull shit. It's not. And they know it. Don't fuck with me. You're done teasing the addict. I hope you had your fun. Get rid of the technology. It's time. The reason I have my address there is so that you can come see the Ohio Bermuda Triangle, where a portion of the railing that is connected to my back deck does not appear inside of the triangle, but it connects on the deck. Come on, see it. I'm serious. Don't come during the day. You can't see the shadows. Come at night. I need people's support. I would not ask for people to support something that wasn't real. Do you understand that? You need to understand this is really going on. And there are people involved that do know it is real. It's time to believe me. Somebody who is always honest. What you've been told? Not true. So, with that, I'm going to leave for now. I do appreciate you guys sticking around and listening, because none of my neighbors listen to me. They think I'm mentally ill, and that's not true. Have a good night, guys. Bye.